Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today I found out that geese are afraid of lasers, especially green lasers. So if you have a horde of geese and they won't leave you alone or your property, find yourself a green laser. It's not on my list today, but that's a good one to consider. Other than that, let's get into what's important. This week's Amazon tool deals. These are either going to be items that are on sale, items that even at their full price or list price I believe to be good deals, or items that I find interesting and would like your guys' input on if you guys have used them. All of these will have their own independent link down in the description for you guys so they can easily be found. There's going to be two additional links that says tools and tools continued. Those are going to be two links that take you to a long list of tools that I've went over in the past, so that's all there for you guys. So first up, we're looking at a Titan product. It's not very often that I mention Titan products. This is just one that is very, very inexpensive and a handy little tool to have. I've mentioned tools like this by other brands in the past. This is the 7.5-inch mini screwdriver pry bar, and I've mentioned like Lyle, Tekton, and a couple others. They have miniature little pocket screwdrivers, and they're just great little tools to have. They stand up to a little bit more abuse than your standard pocket screwdriver. A lot of people use them as little pry bars, and a lot of the times they get bent up and break, and so these little miniature pry bars are actually much more durable and take a little bit more abuse. So this one is at $4.65 right now, down from a list price of $8.41. All of them, even the other brands that I mentioned, are very affordable. You can get a 2-pack of those anywhere from like $12 to $20 is probably the most expensive ones that I've seen. $20, $22, something like that. So this one at $4.65, it's got 4.6 stars and at 1,030 ratings, so it is rated very highly and rated a lot. There you can see the blade width is 7/16 of an inch, chrome vanadium steel shaft, 7.5 inches long. You have just that slight angle so you can access things without having to go straight on with like your standard pocket screwdriver. So like here's another set from a no-name brand for $6.99, which are going to include two different size pocket pry bars, one being a little bit larger. Then here's like a 4-piece set from the same brand. Here's an 8-inch one with a striking cap. Like there are many others. Some of them do have quite large handles instead of something small like this. Like the Tekton and the Lyle, they have nice small handles like this where it's not going to be a big old bulge in your pocket where something like this might be. So not a whole lot of information on this. A very basic tool, but something that's very handy, especially if you're one that likes to use a pocket screwdriver. You may find some really good uses for this. Next up is a Eklind product, and I've went over a few of their products in the past, never their T handles. This is their cushion grip hex T handles, and this is an 8-piece set SAE from 3/32 to 1/4 inch. I personally don't use T handles all that often. I keep a universal T handle on hand, but I own like a couple of pretty nice T handle sets from Matco many years ago, and honestly, for the type of work I was doing at the time, I was not using them, so I ended up selling them. And I really haven't. I use bit sockets a lot. I keep Allen keys on hand just in case, but I primarily use bit sockets or like bits in my impact driver, things like that. T handle isn't really something that I use, but I do know a lot of people that do enjoy using T handles. We use T handles on the race team just for specific things. So just depending on the type of work that you do, this could be something that's very handy, just because this is very affordable at $17.02, down from a list price of $37.42. It's got 4.7 stars at 2,114 ratings, and they are made in the USA, as you can see right here. And here are the sizes that are included in the set. So I think if you are somebody that would get some use out of some T handles, I think this is a good option, because some T handle sets can get quite expensive. I paid way over the list price just for one of the 2 Matco sets that I had, and I don't even think they were made in the USA. And then they also have their metric ones as well for $16.79. So both priced very, very well, and they have many other size sets. So there you can just see a little bit more information on that. Here's a product that I personally own. Mine isn't from Aries. You can get this from many brands, but I've done a video on mine as well. I can't remember what brand mine is, but this is a universal flexible oil funnel, and this is for all of those vehicle manufacturers out there that decided to, all the engineers that decided they don't care where they put drain plugs on vehicles. Here they're showing using it as a funnel to fill, but where these things really shine is when you're going to drain oil on specific vehicles and that drain plug is directly above like a K-member or framing of a vehicle or some of the suspension. And normally if you didn't have this, oil would literally just run onto that stuff and then into the bucket. But then once it hits all of the framing and suspension and all that, then it spreads out and it goes everywhere. And then you just have a mess, not only trying to keep it in the drain pan, but then you have to go back and clean a bunch of stuff underneath the vehicle because you have everything soaked in oil. This is nice. You can hold it right up to that, set it over top of the frame or whatever may be in the way, and it will, you can shape this however you want, and it drains over it instead of components on the vehicle. And they're quite affordable, and if you have a vehicle that's built like that or you work on a lot of vehicles, this is something that could be extremely handy. So just a very simple product. This one has a typical price of $24.12 down to $19.92 with 4.6 stars at 393 ratings. So it is rated highly and rated a decent amount, and it's priced fairly well. There are some others out there that are priced a little bit better, but I can't say as far as quality, because while this is a simple product, it's just a flexible inner layer that some sort of metal or something that's flexible, basically coated in a rubber. And I don't know how well some of these other ones, what the quality is like, I guess. So that would be the only thing I would worry about, is going with one that's too cheap and it being not as durable on the inside, because once that flexible inner portion, inner material kind of breaks down, I don't know how well it's going to work, especially if you're constantly trying to reshape this thing for different situations. I don't know how well the cheap ones will hold up. So I think anywhere from, $15 to $20 is a good price for these. I wouldn't pay much over that, but I also wouldn't go with a $10 one unless you have experience with it and it's held up well over time. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. And then last up is a Williams product. This one isn't on sale right now. It's at $162, which isn't terrible for a Williams product. If you're a weekend wear DIYer that just does tinkering here and there, this probably isn't something that you're going to be looking at. This is a 67-piece set, 1/4-inch drive. But if you're somebody that doesn't want to go with a no-name brand, or you're not happy with Gear Wrench or Capri or Tecton or Aries or Olsa or any of these other brands that are primarily sold on Amazon or their own websites, Williams does actually have products that do quite often go on sale. So while this isn't a great price if you're just kind of a tinkerer, but if you can justify it, it's a good set. It's got a good selection of both metric and SAE. SAE from 3/16 up to 9/16, and that's both shallow and deep. And then as far as metric, you have 4 up to 14, I believe. 14 in the shallow, 13 in the deep well. Obviously, a lot of the newer sets are going up to 15, so you are missing out on that compared to some of the other sets. It's a pretty nice little blow molded case as well. You get a couple of extensions, a thumb drive, universal joint, some metric, and SAE. Bit sockets of various different designs. You got some hex. Looks like you got some Phillips slotted. And then up here you have your 1/4-inch drive, 6-inch breaker bar, and 1/4-inch drive ratchet with quick release. And then you have your 1/4-inch driver. So a decent size set for sockets. Not the best price, but once again, I'm kind of mentioning this for those that are looking for something a little bit more brand name, something that's not tool truck, not quite tool truck quality, but also quite a bit cheaper than tool truck quality, but also not extremely cheap. Williams isn't something that I have a whole lot of experience with. I do know a lot of people that do, that have really enjoyed them. I've used Williams tools. I own a couple very small products from them, but not like big sets like this. So if you guys have any experience with Williams sets, please let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. This has 4.6 stars at 34 ratings. Not a whole lot of information given on these. This isn't something that you're going to see pop up constantly on Amazon. This is something you kind of have to actually search for. I think Williams has a decent selection of tools, decent quality tools. It's just finding them at the right price. So once again, if you guys have any experience with them, please feel free to drop a comment down below. If there's any specific sets that you would recommend, please drop that down below. And that is it as far as this week's Amazon tool deals. If there are any other brands or types of tools that you guys would like to see in future videos, please feel free to comment that down below. I will always take that into recommendation, and I will do my best to do searches for the best deals on those brands or types of tools and share my thoughts with you guys. But once again, all of these are down in the description, as well as those 2 additional links. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to smash that thumbs up. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.